Carl Bhandari. I am the founder of Customer X Success, which is a boutique customer success consulting and fractional firm focused on helping early to mid-stage startups and companies achieve their customer success goals. When I started in customer success, I had a mission to help companies achieve success. But then 2024 happened, and success got a different flavor. With the challenging market, retention became front and center, and funding became a little scarce. So I decided I wanted to learn more about the landscape to become a little bit more holistically knowledgeable and support the founders and companies I work with better. So that's where this webinar comes from, and this series was born, and I call it Exponential Customer Success because it keeps the goal the same, right? Everyone deserves success and we can help them get there. So today's focus is a really exciting interview, and I'm very grateful to have with me Gemma Cipriani-Espineira, and hopefully I pronounced correctly.
You did great.
Wonderful. She is a CS expert and fund leader of CS Angel, which is a fund that just started recently. And Gemma, thank you so much for being here. Would love to hear about you, who you are, and what you've been up to lately. What have you been up to this summer so far?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for having me, Varo. Gemma Cipriani-Espineira. I'm a SaaS executive, and my focus is on improving customer retention, adoption, and expansion. I have had experience building CS programs 3 times over, from bootstrap companies to public companies. And, the thing I've enjoyed most in that journey is being able to unleash people who work with customers through better process, better operations, and better tech stacks. So in addition to being an operator, I decided to create CS Angel, which is a syndicate of angels who are experts in the profession of customer success, who want to invest in the future of our profession by investing in tech that is designed to help our teams. And there's also like an enablement aspect to what we do. We do a number of pay it forward events for CS leaders to teach them how to be successful in this challenging market that we found ourselves in. A little more personal, I guess. So I live in Boston, but obviously British accent. I spent some of my younger years living in Spain. So was an immigrant there, immigrant in the UK, in the United States. My parents were immigrants. My grandparents were immigrants. I've got that real, like, you can do anything you put your mind to attitude behind me, which I think allows me to take on a lot of projects and always look for ways to use whatever power I have to help others and pay it forward. And I think I'm also someone who believes that the harder you work, the luckier you get. So I've just been super fortunate in my journey to work with some amazing people, to have some amazing experiences working both in Europe and more recently in the US. Met my wife on that journey through work. I'm sure we'll talk more about my story, but hopefully that's like a little bit of info to get to know me and what I'm about.
Well, that is a great story. And I used to live in Boston, so hopefully you're fully enjoying Boston summer because we all looked so forward to it.
So great. Yeah.
So Gemma, before we dive in, can you tell us a little bit about your customer success career history and how you got started in the field?
Yes, absolutely. So I got started in the field working for a British-based bootstrapped company called Decibel. And in that journey, we raised money, and initially, like Series A, the investors were like, you need to go and fix your churn problem, like before you get to raise your Series B. So then my focus was on fixing that. And I brought in CS Tech and was able to do that with Gainsight, increase the retention points by over 20 in a very short period. And it was like a great success story. And, the rest is history, as they say. And then I built CS programs at a company called Chili Piper, who are a routing and booking solution for revenue teams, and was able to again increase their retention over 20%. So right now I am an operator at a public company called Twilio. I am RVP of Digital CS and Experience for their segment products, which means I'm trying to find innovative ways to deliver success at scale, making it easier for customers to help themselves and help each other, and managing a number of digital-led campaigns using things like in-app, email, and community to drive them to their desired outcomes.
Fantastic. So Gemma, tell me what makes CS Angel and the work that you're doing unique.
Yeah, great question. So, I think when you think about investing in early stage startups, it's often angel investors or venture capitalists who are looking for the next Uber. Like they want 1,000 times return, and they're assessing the total addressable market of a company. And obviously, like what CS Angel does is so different to that, right? It is, let's focus on a niche, and the TAM might not be huge, but because we have this experience in the niche, like we know what the niche needs, and we can provide relevant information to guide these founders on their way. So I would say as an angel investing philosophy, I'm definitely going against the grain here, and so are my peers, because again, we're not looking for the next Uber. We're looking for an investment that might add to a larger tech stack that we already have. Like maybe it's going to be a product that Salesforce or Gainsight or HubSpot will want to acquire at some point, and we're okay with that. That's still a great exit for us if we can invest early enough in that company.
Yeah, thank you. That totally resonates with me, because I feel like the 1 to 1,000 return, I've definitely heard that. And but I will say, just like as a follow-up on that, if you are customer focused as an entity, as a company, these products may benefit you regardless, and there may be a big TAM, right? Maybe
Yeah,
it's, CS practitioners, but maybe it's people that are, like you said, product team leaders and other folks that are really focused on the customer benefit. So yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, we've seen a lot of that kind of cross-selling, like products like Update AI might start with the CS team and then sell into the sales team, and they are a voice recording competitor to some of the bigger ones out there, but more from a like next step and health analysis focus. But yeah, I think we are going against the grain for sure in working this way, but we're okay with it because we believe in this space, and we know that the CS world and the programs behind it have been pretty underserved. When you compare the spend that's been put into tech for sales and marketing teams and programs compared to post-sales teams and programs, it's like chalk and cheese, right? But the tide is changing there, because post 2022 and everything that happened with SERP, we've realized that it's actually better to invest your money in what you already have, right? In that existing customer base. It's cheaper and faster to expand that way. And there's a great opportunity for more tech stack in this area.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that answer. So I think you have done a great job with CS Angel of even bringing the idea of investment to the mind of many CSMs and CS folks, right? And it sounds like you had a great founding group as well. In my opinion, and maybe this is a lack of understanding too. In my opinion, I think of angel investment versus maybe a direct investment, as angel is, we will be there to guide and advise if you choose to need the help, take the help. We are going to expect you to take the help. Maybe it's a little bit of a different model of how a founder will engage with the group, the cohort that invests, and what the expectations are for the founder. So is that correct in understanding?
Kind of, yeah, kind of. I mean, look, the big difference when you're investing in the secondary market, right, which is like the private market, you've got big VC companies where it is their job to go and spend other people's money and offer a return, and they're going to put in a very big check size into this early stage startup. And then you've got angel investors who have to have a certain earnings threshold to be able to invest. That's a requirement by the US government. But they're less likely to put in a check of millions, right? And they tend to be investing as individuals. Maybe they're investing in people that they previously worked with. And then what I do is I do something called a syndicate, where you basically get a number of angels together to pool their investment into one check, and that one check then goes to the founder. The relationship with the founder from an angel investment syndicate group or even an individual, it tends to be more that of like, we're here to guide you, we're here if you need us. But a VC is oftentimes going to be more involved. Oftentimes they're going to have a board seat because the check size counts to them.
Yeah. Okay. That's my understanding too. So, okay.
Yep.
In that vein, let's just say, what made you choose angel over a typical VC model? Was it the size of the deals, or was it just, hey, this is how we want to also engage and interact?
So I chose the angel investing syndicate model because my priority is, as an operator, to be great at being an operator. So I want to do very well in my job. I want to remain as an executive, and I want to, keep building teams and driving results forward. So angel investing is like a very light way for me to be able to diversify, my investments, but it's not the same as like going and creating a venture capitalist firm that only does that. And I think the beauty of our strategy as CS Angel is that as a syndicate, we are all experts in CS and we only invest in CS tech. So to be good at the investment side, you have to be good at your job. And it's like this, cyclical relationship that works really well for the founders that we're investing in, because we could be the kind of buyers that they're looking to build for. But also works really well for us because it allows us to, keep our finger on the pulse as to what the latest and greatest opportunities are out there for us to improve our own CS programs.
Oh, I love that is, I think, the greatest answer, because I didn't even consider that being an operator is an asset here. I know that it is, but I didn't consider that as like a reason. So that's great. Good to know. So how many angels are currently in the syndicate that you've created?
Yeah, so we've got over 150 members, and that doesn't mean that all of them have invested in the 5 companies that we've invested in so far, but they all have the opportunity to invest. So the idea is, working with my founding members and a group of 7 volunteers, we will build a list of the most exciting companies that we've all heard from. So there's like a number of people contributing to that deal flow. And then we determine, okay, which ones do we think are the most viable opportunities? Which ones, would we be interested in buying someday? And we try and put at least 4 forward every 6 months or so on a demo day. And at this point, everybody, all of the 150 angels can join that demo day, and they'll have the opportunity to pledge whether they'd like to invest in a company or not.
All right, that's fantastic. And what are some of the criteria that you look at as an individual, or that you guide other angels to look at when they're making their investments?
Yeah, so me and my investment co-leads at CS Angel, we've determined a structure of at least 4 things that we're assessing companies on. So we're assessing them first and foremost on the team, and I think trust is incredibly important. So we always want to work with founders who are, very honest throughout the whole process. If what we're hearing, at a conversation in a conference matches up to the demo and matches up to the follow-up demo, like that's a huge plus for us. We also want to know if that founding team is dynamic enough to, put in front of a larger audience. Are they people that we are confident like putting our name and our reputation behind? And it's really helpful if they've worked in the problem that they're trying to solve before. Right. So, for example, one of our most recent investments is a company called Join. Larissa and Kenny, who are the co-founders of Join, have previously worked in operations and, been chief information officers for companies, and they've built a solution that basically is like a AI version of a chief of staff, right? So that is like a great matchup to founder, to the problems that they're solving and the products that they have. The second thing is obviously the product, and our niche is to focus on a tool that a product idea, not a tool, because sometimes they're not that far yet, but the idea of improving net revenue retention. So this can be very many things. It could be a customer success management tool. It could be a customer support, could be consulting, ultimately anything that's going to empower the kind of actions that drive the ability for you to increase your customer revenue and expand it. We are interested. And in that product review, we're assessing, what is their moat against their competition, if the competition exists. The third thing would be to understand like their go-to-market model. And oftentimes, we're working with MVPs, and the go-to-market model is not super thought out because these are very early stage companies. But if we can see that they already have really good traction, perhaps with like a PLG motion, if they have an already 5 customers, whether they're paying or not, who are prepared to vouch for them and talk about the success they've had working with them, then that's a big plus. And then the last thing is we obviously have to determine the risks in the deal. And sometimes those risks will be, they haven't yet identified their ICP, or they're going against a really big company with a lot more resources. And we're very forthcoming in explaining those risks. We have a due diligence process that is like a 21-question checklist that we explore with founders. And we ensure that, everybody who does invest goes in with as much information as possible to determine how much they feel comfortable investing with.
Thank you. That's great to hear that that overview. And I think in general, I can relate to some of them with not necessarily everybody will have a product or a tool, as you mentioned, right? And they may be more in the ideation stage. And that's a lot of where I'm talking to founders. And it's like, what you're saying is really interesting, because I think it's not just one thing, and it's not just like you're looking at revenue, right? Because there might not be really a lot of revenue.
Sometimes they're pre-revenue, yeah.
Yeah. So it's great to know. I've recently had conversations with a lot of VCs that are in the seed and pre-seed stage. And I was asking them a similar question of like, how do you really vet somebody if they are pre-revenue? What are the things you're thinking about? So is there one of these criteria or one thing that you think like stands out when you personally are making a decision that you're like, this is one of the most important things for me? Or are they all kind of well balanced?
Yeah, I think the beauty of CS Angel is that it's not a me decision. Like, I'm not a fund manager. I'm not promising returns on your investment. I'm saying invest at your own risk. This is super high risk. And the decision is being made by the democracy of all of us coming together, right? So oftentimes there's very many different reasons why people might decide to pledge money to a certain founder. But, if I look at the companies that we have already invested in, I would say the thing that really stands out is, experiencing that pain point and then again building a solution around it. So an example would be Bagel AI, their founder Ohad Biron. He has worked in product experience, in product management. He understands how challenging it is to align the product roadmap with the go-to-market team, and how tough it is to prioritize feature requests when they live in a million different places, and it's very hard to determine which one's going to have the biggest impact on revenue, which one's going to have the biggest impact on retention, and so on and so forth. And he's experienced that pain point, and he's built a product to address it. And Bagel AI does exactly that, right? It plugs into all these different sources and uses their own proprietary model to determine what should be prioritized. And so that always makes a very compelling story for our demo days. And again, if that story is something that we as CS operators and experts experience, then oftentimes it's very it's like a match made in heaven. I will say though, there are some things that are completely new. For example, very few CS programs include the use of videos, one-to-one videos. Like, this is something that we see happen often in outreach, in BDR teams. They'll often, record a short video, send it across, and now there's AI that allows you to edit it and personalize it en masse. So you can record the video once and, send it out to many prospects. That's a great, there's a number of tools out there that do that, but none of them were focusing on the CS use case. And we found SendSpark, who actually do focus on the CS use case and do an incredible job at it. And we saw, great success in our demo day, where people maybe hadn't used the product yet, but as a result of demo day, started to realize, like, okay, if I could use this to improve my onboarding sequences, right? I can use this to outline new product introduction process, and that we've seen great momentum in SendSpark in the CS space since we brought them to the CS Angel group.
Yeah, that's very cool. And I think I agree that when you're thinking about products that maybe exist for one segment already, and being able to find founders that are experienced and that are kind of bridging the gap, so to speak, to make it something that can be useful for other organizations, that's like amazing, right? And that really does hit a great audience, right? That's what the whole goal of investing is, right? So that you're gonna invest in a product that is gonna meet the needs of an audience.
Yeah.
What is your typical like investment? I should say, I call it horizon, but I'm thinking like, timeline. When you meet a founder to the time that you might actually invest in them, what does that even look like for the founders?
Yeah, great question. So it's not just me meeting founders. Like I said, I have investment co-leads, a number of other volunteers, and the deal flow like comes from the group itself. But we'll try and do these demo days every quarter, sometimes every 6 months, depending. And that it depends on how many deals we have from the previous one, by the way.
Yeah, of course.
Like,
yeah.
yeah.
Number.
If we put 4 people forward and people want to invest in 3 of them, then it will take a little bit longer to do our next demo day.
Yeah.
We haven't got there yet. We've had 2 out of 4 happen twice, which is exciting. But yes, let's say initial conversation happens, they might have to wait 6 months for another demo day, if they're selected, of course. During that demo day, we are asking people to pledge their votes. We're asking our angels to pledge their votes. And if we can get enough traction to build a decent check size, we set a minimum of 100K for our check size, then we take the founders through a due diligence process that usually takes 2 weeks. And then we'll have the deal open usually for another 2 weeks after that. So we try to move quickly, because we are working with founders who honestly should be spending more of their time building the products than, running a fundraising process. So we try and move as quickly as we can. But I would say, anything from the initial meeting to actually closing the deal and including demo day and due diligence, there's maybe, a 7-month period there.
Okay. Oh, that's great. So let me ask you this. So in the process, what kind of challenges do you see, or even from the point of sourcing companies, what are some of the challenges you face as a group?
Yeah, I think we are busy operators, right? So again, our jobs are always going to come first, right? And so for that reason, we have these demo days, because we know that, okay, like that's just going to be an hour and a half every quarter or every 6 months, like that. I can do that. So timing up the founder who is going to be closing around the time that we are going to be doing the demo day, that is a challenge for us. We're not like working from a pool of money and then deciding as we go, as a VC would. We're trying to align everything together. So it's definitely a unique challenge that we have in our angel investing group. But I still think we've been able to close some amazing deals. And, even there's been maybe 1 or 2 that the timing hasn't worked out for their fundraise. We still have great relationships with them and, hope to bring them forward at a future date.
Oh, that's great. That's good to know. So you mentioned also that the syndicate and the members are doing activities to pay it forward. Can you explain a little bit about that initiative and how that works?
Absolutely. So I think angel investing in general seems like a bit of a mystery. And it's like, if you know, you know, and if you don't, then good luck. Like hopefully someone else will take you under their wing. Um, and so the whole idea of paying it forward is to um, remove the veil on angel investing. Like, look, if I can do it, so can you. I know that there are some requirements that the Security and Exchange Commission have around earnings. You need to earn a certain amount of money to be able to angel invest in US-based companies that are private companies. But beyond that, like, if you're successful in this profession, you should meet that threshold at some point. So really, it's only a matter of time before you can start angel investing. And the idea is, how can we pay it forward to leaders in our profession who maybe aren't quite at that executive level where they can afford to do it, but will be in a few years? How can we make that path for them to diversify even easier? And even if you're not interested in the angel investing side of things, to be a good angel investor is similar to the qualities that you need to be a good operator. Like, you need to have great financial literacy. You need to be good at determining opportunities. And so, we talk about a lot of these subjects that make you better at your job, not just better at angel investing. Some recent pay it forward webinars we've had have been around improving financial literacy for CS leaders. And then we'll do other ones that are, more around running fiscally responsible programs through scaled digital CS motions, which is like, that's my passion point. That's what I work in. And yeah, it's a requirement if you're in our syndicate to pay it forward at some point. So there are a lot of opportunities for us to invite angel investors who maybe don't have experience in CS and who don't want to pay it forward, but we're not interested in that so much because, again, our mission is to fortify the future of this profession through investing the tech and paying it forward to the leaders of tomorrow.
I love that. And I think I even resonate to like what you said at the beginning, which is like you sort of thought of this because of your own board presentations or discussions, right, that were occurring where
Yeah.
you were, they were asking questions. And I think there's so much, it's so important because not only as CS folks, but as leaders in a company to understand what the bottom line is and what matters, right, to either the investors or what matters to if you're, even if you're an IPO'd company at someday, everybody's still scrutinizing what's happening, right? So
Yeah.
gaining that financial literacy is very important. And I think like how you kind of started your journey is also how a lot of people can probably start theirs, right? Start to ask questions internally, start to get curious as to what's happening in your company and teach yourself, right? Or join a pay it forward session, it sounds like too. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
so I have two last questions for you, and they're essentially advice for CS companies that might want to get scouted. Like, how do they do that? And then the second one is advice for folks that might want to, that are angel curious, that might want to, aspire to join, maybe don't know what to do or how to get there. So if you could share advice for those two groups, that would be great.
Of course, yeah. So I think for any founders who are building solutions that improve net revenue retention, we want to hear from you. Go to our website, csangel.com/for-founders, and you'll find all the information that you need there about our process. And you can also submit a founder inquiry, which we promise to respond to, and let you know whether we'd like to, move forward to assess you for a demo day opportunity. It's always helpful if you are a founder who's willing to give back to the community as we are. And, I think we've definitely got on really well with founders who are like on this journey with us together. So, this is a cool to action for good people to come and reach out to us who want to help others and who are, really passionate about fortifying the future of this community. I would say, with respect to becoming an angel, again, csangel.com, you'll find an angels aspect of the site where you can hear from some of our angels and what they have to say about their experience being in the group. You can join the waitlist to join. We look at accepting people, again, ahead of all of the demo days that we're running. And then we have a private Slack channel where we swap notes on, deals out there. We also talk about other things in the Slack channel. As you know, we'll talk about events that we're attending, or share advice on things that we are building and noodling on. And it's just a really great community. But if you meet the accredited investor requirements, which are an earnings threshold as of today, I don't know when this airs, things might change, but as of right now, it's over $200,000 earnings per year that you've had sufficiently for over a 2-year period and expect to have in the future. If you meet that earnings threshold, if you have CS relevant experience, and if you're committed to paying it forward as we are, then you should definitely reach out.
Thank you so much. This has been fantastic. And I feel like I learned so much about CS Angel and you as an individual, and it's just been great to get to pick your brain. And thanks for letting me ask some questions here today. For everybody that's listening, visit csangel.com if you want to find out more information about CS Angel and the work that they're doing, or follow Gemma on LinkedIn because she's always posting CS thought leadership there as well. And we hope you'll join us for the next episode. Thanks so much. Thanks,
Awesome.
Gemma.
Thanks for having me.